The Galactic Union patrol ship Varin's light drifted silently through a quiet sector on the edge of explored space. Commander Arvak sat in the bridge chair, his long gray fingers tapping lightly on the console. His eyes were fixed on the sensors, scanning the empty void. Most of this sector had been considered unimportant for years. No star systems of note, no colonies, no trade routes, just empty space. But today, something strange had appeared on the sensors, something that made Arvak frown. "Commander," said Lieutenant Serral, the science officer, a tall, thin Zevran with deep blue skin, "I am picking up a strong energy signature. It is unlike anything we have in our database." Arvak turned to her. "Show me," he said. His voice was calm but carried a hint of concern. The screen in front of them shifted as Serral amplified the readings. On the display, a strange shape appeared. It was massive, unlike any ship the Galactic Union had ever recorded. Its size alone was enough to make Arvak pause. He had seen warships before, enormous carriers, battleships, and dreadnoughts. But this was on a different level. The object moved slowly, but with precision. Its hull shimmered slightly under the distant starlight. There were no markings, no signs of origin, nothing that could tell them who built it. Arvak leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Scan again. Deep scan. I want everything." Serral's fingers danced over the console. The sensors hummed, and a deep pulse of scanning energy shot out into space, surrounding the unknown ship in invisible waves. The display lit up with data. At first, the information was basic: size, mass, velocity, but then it became confusing. The readings were too complex for their systems to process. The hull materials, the energy flows, the structural design, everything seemed beyond comprehension. "Commander, I don't understand," Serral said, voice trembling slightly. "The hull. It is made of alloys unknown to us. The energy systems. They are enormous, far beyond what we have seen. The weapons. If they are weapons, they could destroy a fleet without breaking a sweat." Arvak's eyes widened. He had faced dangerous species before, powerful fleets and deadly warships. But never had he encountered something like this. "Alert the fleet," he said slowly, "and keep scanning. We need to know what this is." The alien crew worked quickly, but the ship's computers started to lag. Lines of code and readings appeared, disappeared, and then froze completely. Something about this object seemed to resist understanding. The energy signature continued to grow as if it were alive. Suddenly, a signal flashed on the screen. A single line of text in Galactic Standard appeared. "This is the Terran Navy battleship Valor." Arvak froze. Terran? Terran Navy? Those words meant nothing to him personally, but they did not match any known species classification. He looked at Serral. "Humans," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "But humans are extinct. They have been gone for centuries." The crew exchanged nervous glances. The Galactic Union believed humans had destroyed themselves long ago. No one alive had ever seen a human starship, and most thought humanity had vanished without a trace. And yet here it was, a living, functioning, massive battleship, appearing silently in the empty reaches of space. On the Valor, Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the railing. The ship was massive, long, and gleaming under the light of distant stars. She had been leading the Valor for 6 years, hidden in the dark regions of the Perseus Arm, far from alien eyes. Humanity had learned long ago that the galaxy was not friendly, so they had built in silence, growing strong while no one watched. "Status report," she said calmly. Her first officer, Commander Jason Cole, stepped forward. He was tall and strong, with short brown hair and steady green eyes. "All systems are operating normally," he reported. "Sensors detect a small alien patrol nearby. They have not engaged. They are observing us." Laura nodded. "Let them watch. They will learn soon enough." Back on the Varin's light, Arvak's crew continued to stare at the display. Every second, their computers tried to process the data and failed. The alien crew whispered among themselves, fear growing in the small bridge room. They had encountered dangerous species before, but never one that made their entire technology seem weak. "Commander," said one of the alien engineers' voice, shaking, "I do not understand. How can a single ship be like this? This is not possible." Arvak's voice was calm but firm. "Keep scanning. Do not approach. Do not engage. Only observe." Still, he felt a chill run down his spine. Something about this ship was wrong. Too powerful. Too advanced. Too human. The Valor's sensors monitored the patrol ship casually. Inside the human vessel, the AI known as Atlas had already detected the scan. Atlas was not like normal human AI. It was intelligent, adaptable, and deeply connected to the ship itself. "Foreign scan detected," Atlas said in its calm, clear voice. "They are probing us. Non-lethal," Laura ordered. "We do not want to start a war. Just let them know we are not to be messed with." On the alien ship, the sensors suddenly overloaded. Displays flickered and went blank. Power surged. Through the systems, then stabilized, but now the alien crew had no way to read the human ship properly. Their computers could not interpret the data. The more they tried, the more their systems failed. Some whispered that the humans had somehow hacked their minds through the scan. Others were sure it was a new kind of weapon. Arvak gritted his teeth. "Pull back," he ordered. "We cannot handle this. Contact the fleet." But when they tried to communicate, even that failed. Their comm systems were offline. All they could see was the silent shadow of the Valor, moving through space with quiet confidence. Meanwhile, Laura turned to Jason. "They are curious," she said. "But they will learn quickly that curiosity can be dangerous." Jason nodded, his eyes fixed on the displays. "Do you think they understand what they are looking at?" Laura shook her head slightly. "No, not yet, but they will. And when they do, they will remember it." Across the galaxy, the news traveled slowly at first. The Galactic Union Command had records of humans, but only in history books. Humans were a footnote, a species thought to have destroyed itself long ago. But now, with a human battleship appearing in the Perseus Arm, that history was about to change. Back on the Vahrin's light, Arvak looked at his crew. Fear was written on every face. "Prepare a full report," he said. "We are going to need every ship in the fleet to understand what we have just seen. This is no ordinary encounter." The alien engineers worked feverishly, trying to reboot their systems, trying to understand the data, trying to make sense of what they had seen. But the Valor remained calm, steady, and powerful. It did not move aggressively. It did not fire. Yet every alien on the patrol ship knew that if the humans wanted to, they could destroy them all in minutes. Laura walked to the front of the bridge, looking out at the dark emptiness of space. She remembered her training, her missions, the years spent hiding humanity from the galaxy, and now it had begun. The humans would no longer be forgotten. They had grown strong, silent, and careful, and they would no longer bow to anyone. Jason came to stand beside her. "Do they know what they have done?" he asked quietly. Laura shook her head. "They do not yet, but soon they will, and when they do, they will wish they had never scanned us." The Valor moved onward through the stars, massive, quiet, and unstoppable. The alien patrol ship remained behind, crippled and confused. Across the bridge of the Vahrin's light, Commander Arvak stared at the empty view screen where the human ship had just been. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "Humans. They are back." The stars stretched endlessly ahead, silent witnesses to the beginning of something new, and in the darkness the humans sailed on, unknown, unstoppable, and ready. The news of the human battleship spread like wildfire through the Galactic Union's channels. At first, few believed it. Humans had been classified as extinct for centuries. Histories described them as reckless, self-destructive, and gone before other species had even left their home planets. Their technology, if it existed at all, was thought to be long lost. Yet now, the name of a single human ship appeared in sensors across multiple patrol sectors, Valor. In the Union's central archive, historians and officers gathered. The archive was a massive cylindrical structure floating in orbit around Valari Prime. It was filled with holographic displays, floating data cubes, and records stretching back thousands of years. Admiral Siron stood at the center of the main chamber, his pale green skin glowing softly under the archive lights. His eyes were narrow as he looked at the council assembled around him. "This cannot be," he said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Humans were extinct. They were gone before the formation of the Valari Council. How is it possible that one of their battleships appears now?" A young historian, Talia Rin, raised her voice. She was small, with delicate violet skin and bright silver eyes. "Admiral, the identification codes are correct. Valor is a Terran Navy vessel. The ship's design is consistent with the records. The databases do not lie." Saren rubbed his forehead. "Then what have we done? How could we have missed this?" A murmur ran through the room. Some council members looked frightened. Others were angry. Some whispered about the past wars humans had fought. Even the stories of human self-destruction could not erase the truth. A human ship now existed, alive and armed, and no one knew what it was capable of. Meanwhile, far from Valari Prime, the Valor moved silently through the outer sector. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past. Beside her, Commander Jason Cole reviewed the latest sensor reports. "Still no engagement," Jason said. "They are hiding, watching us, curious but careful." Laura nodded. "Curiosity is dangerous," she said softly. "They do not understand what they are dealing with, and they never will, unless they try to attack." Atlas, the ship's AI, spoke from the central console. "Multiple alien patrols are gathering in nearby sectors. They have detected us, but none have approached closely. Their communications are cautious, almost fearful." Jason frowned. "Fear? From them? They have fleets that could wipe out a small solar system, and they fear us?" Laura smiled faintly. "Yes, fear is a good teacher." Back at Valari Prime, Admiral Saron convened an emergency council meeting. Leaders from several species gathered in the main chamber, their faces tense and pale. Charts and sensor readings floated in the air, showing the outer sector where the Valor had been detected. "This is unprecedented," Saron said. "We thought humans extinct. We have records, histories, even holographic reconstructions. We know what they were, and yet one of their ships exists. One ship. And it is powerful beyond our ability to measure." A Valari general, Kalen Vosh, spoke next. He was a large, muscular figure with bronze-colored skin and sharp eyes. "We have not seen their weapons systems, Admiral. Perhaps the historians are exaggerating?" Saron shook his head. "No. The patrol ships that scanned the vessel reported system failures. Sensors overloaded. Communications shut down. It is not exaggeration. Whatever humans have built, it is beyond our understanding." A human historian in the room, long extinct, though revived as a record consultant hologram, spoke. "Admiral, they have had centuries to rebuild, to hide, to prepare, and we thought them gone. Perhaps we should have expected this." The council fell silent. No one wanted to consider that a species once thought extinct could reappear and wield such power. The fear was almost tangible, like a dark shadow settling over the chamber. Meanwhile, the Valor had moved beyond the immediate patrol area. Laura turned to Jason. "They will begin to organize fleets soon. They will want answers. Some will be afraid. Others will be angry. But all of them will respect caution." Jason looked out at the empty stars. "Do you think they'll understand us if we try to communicate?" Laura shook her head. "Not yet. They only understand fear, and we will give it to them. Not by attack, but by showing them we are not weak." Inside the Valor, Atlas continued to monitor alien communications. "Multiple species are sending fleet movements toward the area. They are coordinating. They are planning. They are scared." Jason laughed softly. "Scared, and we have not fired a single shot." Laura smiled. "They will remember the day they scanned a human ship." And when they do, they will know not to make the same mistake again. In the outer sectors, fleets from multiple species began to gather. Patrol ships, reconnaissance cruisers, and even larger warships were moving cautiously. They scanned the empty sectors, trying to detect the human vessel. Every report that came back showed nothing. No warp signatures, no energy emissions beyond the basic power of the ship's systems. Yet all sensors had failed at some point when attempting a deep scan. Commander Arvak of the Varen's Light watched his crew struggle to make sense of it. "We cannot analyze it," he said. "Every system we try, it fails. Something about that ship is rewriting our understanding of physics." One of his engineers whispered, almost to herself, "It cannot be natural. It cannot be real." Arvak's expression darkened. "It is real. And it is human." Across the galaxy, whispers began. Scholars, military officers, traders, and diplomats all spoke in hushed tones of the Terran Navy battleship. Ancient stories resurfaced. Tales of humans fighting wars with unimaginable ferocity, of their fleets conquering star systems, of weapons that could destroy entire planets. Most dismissed these stories as myth. Now, with the Valor's return, the myth seemed real. Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, watching the dark expanse of space. "We have been quiet for too long," she said. "The galaxy believed we were gone. And in silence we have grown strong. Now they will see. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not bow. Humanity survives." Jason leaned against the railing. "Do you think they will attack us?" Laura shook her head. "Not yet. Not until they understand what we are. And by then, it will be too late for them to act without caution." Atlas's calm voice interrupted them. "Multiple species are beginning fleet coordination. Estimates suggest that a combined force may attempt contact within the next cycle. Probability of aggressive action: medium." Laura nodded. "Then we wait. We prepare. We let them see the strength they cannot understand." On Valari Prime, Admiral Saran could not sleep. His thoughts kept returning to the human battleship. He remembered the patrol reports, the failure of their sensors, the flicker of that single human identification. Humans had disappeared long ago. They were a cautionary tale, a footnote in history. And yet here they were, alive, strong, and ready. "This changes everything," he whispered to himself. "We thought they were gone, but they were only hiding. And now they are back." The next day, more fleets arrived at the sector, each cautious, each fearful. Patrol ships attempted scans, but every attempt ended in failure. Alien crews began to whisper about the humans' technology. Some spoke of warlike intelligence, some of impossible engineering. All agreed on one thing: humanity had returned, and it was not to be trifled with. Back aboard the Valor, Captain Bennett watched the growing fleets through her sensors. "They will learn," she said quietly. "They will learn quickly. And when they do, they will understand that the galaxy has changed forever." Jason placed a hand on her shoulder. "Do you ever think about what comes next? After the fleets see us?" Laura smiled faintly, her eyes still on the stars. "They will fear us. And fear is the first step toward respect. They have forgotten humanity. We will make sure they remember." The humans had been silent for centuries, hiding, building, and preparing. Now the galaxy could no longer ignore them. One ship had appeared, and already whispers spread like wildfire. Legends of human strength, human ingenuity, and human survival returned to the minds of the galaxy's leaders, and the humans continued their journey through the stars, steady, calm, and powerful. They had survived extinction, secrecy, and the galaxy's indifference. Now the galaxy would learn to fear them, not through violence yet, but through knowledge of their impossible strength. The stars stretched ahead, endless and silent witnesses to the humans' return. And somewhere in the council chambers of every species, leaders whispered quietly, "Humans, they are back." The Galactic Union fleet had gathered at the edge of the Perseus Arm, each ship cautious, tense, and curious. News of the human battleship Valor had spread across the galaxy. Leaders whispered of its impossible size, strength, and intelligence. Historians and scientists argued over what humans were capable of. Now dozens of alien ships had come together to see it for themselves. Commander Arvak of the patrol ship Vahrin's Light paced the bridge, watching the stars streak past. "Prepare a scan team," he said. "We need to know what we are dealing with." Lieutenant Saral, the science officer, nodded. "We will perform a deep spectrum scan. Nothing will be hidden from us." The alien crew buzzed with anticipation. They had never seen a species capable of building something like this. A human battleship had been reported, yes, but no one had ever seen it with their own eyes. The Valor was larger than many fleets combined. Its hull glimmered faintly under distant starlight. Its lines were precise, clean, and purposeful. On the bridge of the Valor, Captain Laura Bennett watched the approaching fleet calmly. "They are curious," she said to Commander Jason Cole. "They think they are in control. They think they can study us." "Let them try," Jason frowned. "Do you want us to interfere?" Laura shook her head. "Not yet. Let them see what happens when they underestimate humans." Atlas, the ship's AI, spoke clearly. "Multiple vessels are attempting active scans. They are using deep spectrum analysis and energy probes. Probability of detection high." Jason smiled. "Let's see how curious they really are." The first scans began. Energy beams shot toward the Valor, invisible to the naked eye but strong enough to probe the ship's hull and internal systems. On the alien fleet's bridge, sensors began to feed data back to their consoles. At first, the readings were normal: size, mass, energy output. But then the unexpected happened. The sensors began to overload. Computers froze. Data scrambled. Entire consoles shut down one after another. Alarms rang. Red lights flashing across the bridges of the alien ships. Crew members shouted, confused and frightened. "What is happening?" Arvak shouted. "Report!" Cyril's voice was tense. "Commander, the ship is resisting our scans. Our systems are failing. It is as if the data is being absorbed or destroyed before we can process it." Arvak's jaw tightened. "Pull back! Stop the scans." But before they could react, the systems surged again. Alien ships' displays filled with strange symbols, incomprehensible equations, and flashes of data that made no sense. Some officers claimed to feel a strange pressure in their minds, a sensation of confusion and fear. The Valor did not fire a single shot. Yet every alien on every ship knew that they had made a dangerous mistake. On the Valor, Atlas monitored the events silently. "Foreign scan detected," it said. "Initiating countermeasure, non-lethal, objective, warning." Laura nodded. "Do not harm them. Just show them." The human AI directed energy subtly. Alien scanners burned out. Their communications glitched, and the crews on multiple ships felt the overwhelming presence of human technology. The Valor did not attack, but it revealed enough of its power that every crew member on the Union ships understood. This was no ordinary species. On the bridge of the Vahrin's Light, Commander Arvak looked around at his crew. Fear was written on every face. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How can one ship do this?" The alien engineers frantically tried to reboot their systems. "Commander," one said, voice shaking, "I do not understand. It is not a virus. It is something else, something alive." Arvak clenched his fists. "It is human." Across the fleet, other ships tried their scans, only to experience the same effect. Energy beams overloaded their systems. Data returned scrambled, incomprehensible. Some ships' engines even failed for a brief moment, as if the Valor had reached inside their technology and touched it. Panic rippled through the fleet. Meanwhile, the humans on the Valor remained calm. Laura turned to Jason. "They are learning," she said quietly. "Curiosity is dangerous when you underestimate humans." Jason frowned. "Do you think they understand yet?" Laura shook her head. "Not fully. But they will. They will know soon enough that scanning a human ship is not harmless." On the alien ships, confusion turned to fear. Reports circulated among the fleet. Patrols were disabled, sensors fried, communication lines scrambled. Even the largest warships found themselves struggling to understand the human vessel. Whispered conversations spread. "Humans. They are back." "No, it cannot be. They scanned it, and instantly regretted it." Admiral Saron, back on Valari Prime, listened to the reports from multiple fleets. His face was pale, almost green under the lights. He leaned over the main console, reading the logs and sensor failures. Impossible, he said. A single ship? One human battleship? Disabling fleets without a single shot fired? Talia Wren, the young historian, spoke softly. Admiral, perhaps humans have been preparing for this. They were thought extinct, but maybe they were hiding. Building strength, learning. They could have rebuilt everything in secret. Saron's hand shook slightly as he typed a message to all nearby fleets. Pull back. Do not engage. Do not scan again. Inform command. Humans are not to be provoked. Back on the Valor, Laura stood on the bridge, calm and steady. Atlas reported multiple alien systems failing around them. They are retreating, the AI said. Jason leaned against the railing. And we didn't fire a shot. Laura smiled faintly. No. We showed them what happens when humans are underestimated. That is enough for now. The fleet, now fully aware of the human battleship's power, slowly began to retreat. Ships that had approached boldly now kept their distance, fearful of further contact. Stories would spread across the galaxy of the impossible human ship, of its silent dominance, and of its ability to make entire fleets stop without aggression. Even the bravest species began to whisper to their allies. They scanned a human battleship, and instantly wished they hadn't. The humans, meanwhile, continued on their course, silent and unstoppable. The Valor glided through space like a shadow, calm, quiet, and confident. Captain Bennett looked at the stars. They will think twice before trying again, she said. Jason nodded. Do you think they will try to attack us? Laura shook her head. Not yet. They need to understand first, and by the time they do, it will be too late for mistakes. Atlas added. Alien fleets are withdrawing, reporting sensor failures and unusual readings. Probability of second engagement low. Laura nodded. Good. We continue as planned. Humanity remains hidden until ready, but let them learn. Let them fear us even without a fight. As the Valor moved through the empty sector, the galaxy began to change. Alien species would remember this day. They would remember the humans who had disappeared centuries ago. They would remember the silent, unstoppable power that appeared out of nowhere. And somewhere in the dark corners of the galaxy, scientists, officers, and scholars whispered together, humans. They are alive. And they are stronger than we imagined. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The humans sailed onward, calm, powerful, and unchallenged. One ship had faced a fleet, and one ship had changed the perception of an entire galaxy. Fear, respect, and caution would follow the humans everywhere. And the Valor continued, silent, unstoppable, and prepared for whatever the galaxy might throw at them next. Weeks passed after the first encounter. The news of the human battleship Valor spread across the galaxy. Ships returned to their home systems, reporting what they had seen. Fleets disabled without a single shot fired, sensors fried, communications failing. The legend of the humans, thought extinct, had returned. On Valari Prime, Admiral Saron called another emergency meeting. The council chamber was filled with leaders from multiple species. Everyone knew that this was no ordinary encounter. Fear and uncertainty filled the room. We cannot ignore this, Saron said. His voice echoed through the chamber. One human battleship has demonstrated power beyond our understanding. If this is what one ship can do, what might they have hidden? A representative from the Olarian species, a tall, silver-skinned diplomat named Neris, spoke next. Admiral, it is clear humans have been preparing. We underestimated them. We thought them extinct. But they are here, and they are powerful. We must act with caution. Saron nodded. Agreed. No fleet will engage. All scans are to be halted. But we cannot simply do nothing. Humanity has returned. They have made themselves known. We must respond. Meanwhile, in the Perseus arm, the Valor continued on its secret course. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, calm and steady. She had received reports from Atlas about the alien fleets. Most had retreated. Some were attempting communication, but none had approached closely. They are scared, Jason Cole said, standing beside her. His voice carried a mixture of awe and disbelief. They do not know what they are dealing with. Laura smiled faintly. Fear is the first step toward respect. They must learn that humans are not to be trifled with. Atlas's voice sounded from the central console. Multiple species are attempting encrypted communications. Messages are being broadcast across long-range channels. Probability of them attempting to scan again. Medium. Laura turned to Jason. Then it is time they receive a warning they cannot ignore. Prepare the communication array, Jason nodded. A direct message? Laura's eyes were cold and steady. Yes, let them hear the human's voice. Let them understand that scanning our ships is not a harmless act. Within hours, the Valor sent a transmission that reached every fleet in the surrounding sectors. The message was simple, clear, and commanding. A human voice, calm and firm, spoke through the universal translator. This is Captain Laura Bennett of the Terran Navy ship Valor. We are humans. We do not seek conflict, but we will not tolerate intrusion. Any attempt to scan, probe, or attack our ships will be met with consequences. Humanity has survived the galaxy's chaos. We have rebuilt in silence, and we will not bow to any species. Across the galaxy, the transmission was heard. Commanders paused, diplomats whispered, and historians leaned forward in disbelief. The words were simple, yet carried an undeniable power. They did not promise war, but they demanded respect. On Valari Prime, Admiral Saron listened to the transmission. His hands clenched around the edge of the console. They speak with authority, he said quietly. This is not a threat. This is a warning, and it carries more weight than any fleet. Neris, the Olarian diplomat, looked around the room. They have strength, strategy, and confidence. They have rebuilt themselves while we slept. This changes everything. Back aboard the Valor, Laura Bennett turned from the communication console. They will understand now. Fear will teach them respect faster than any battle. Jason shook his head. Do you think they will listen? Laura smiled faintly. Some will. Others will try to challenge us. But the galaxy will learn that humanity has returned and that we are not weak. Atlas spoke. Alien fleets are responding. Some are retreating further. Others are attempting diplomatic contact. Probability of aggressive action has dropped significantly. Laura nodded. Good. Let them think carefully before making any mistakes. The humans have waited long enough. Now it is time the galaxy remembers us. Meanwhile, small fleets of aliens approached cautiously, keeping their distance. Their leaders debated what to do. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others feared provoking humans further. Whispered conversations filled their ships. They have rebuilt. They have technology beyond comprehension. Even one ship can disable entire fleets. Imagine what their full strength looks like. They were extinct, yet here they are, and we thought we knew everything about them. The Valor moved silently, never aggressive, always calm. Laura watched the stars, thinking about the centuries humans had spent hiding, rebuilding, and preparing. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but humanity had not forgotten the galaxy. Jason spoke quietly. Do you ever worry that they might still try to fight us? Laura shook her head. Not yet. Fear is the strongest teacher. They will not act without caution. They will remember this day for the rest of their lives. Back on Valari Prime, Admiral Saron called for a report from all fleets. Each commander described the failure of their scans, the strange disruptions, and the transmission from the humans. The reports painted a clear picture. Humanity had returned, and they were not to be underestimated. Saron spoke to the council. We are dealing with a species that has grown strong in secret. They are intelligent, disciplined, and powerful. They will not tolerate mistakes. We must treat them with respect. Across the galaxy, messages spread quickly. Traders, explorers, and diplomats carried stories of the human battleship and the calm, commanding voice of Captain Bennett. Legends that were long forgotten returned, tales of human ingenuity, courage, and survival. And now the galaxy knew humanity was alive. On the Valor, Laura looked at Jason. We have delivered the warning. Now we continue our course. Humanity must remain hidden for now, but we have made ourselves known. That is enough for this cycle, Jason nodded. They will remember us. That is certain, Laura smiled faintly. Good, let them fear us. Let them learn. And when the time comes, they will understand that humans are not a species to underestimate. The stars stretched endlessly before the Valor. The galaxy had heard humanity's voice. It had felt humanity's presence. And somewhere in the council chambers of every species, leaders whispered quietly, humans, they are alive. And they are strong beyond measure. The warning had been delivered. The humans had returned. And the galaxy would never forget the day the Terran Navy spoke, and made the universe remember that humanity had survived, hidden, and grown stronger than anyone could imagine. Weeks passed after the warning had been sent. Across the galaxy, the message of humanity's return spread like wildfire. Commanders, scholars, and leaders whispered the same words. Humans were alive, strong, and not to be trifled with. Fleets that had once moved with confidence now approached the outer sectors cautiously. Some species debated forming alliances. Others began defensive preparations. Fear and respect had replaced arrogance. On Valari Prime, Admiral Saron paced the council chamber. Every update from the fleets confirmed the same thing. Alien ships had failed to scan the human battleship again. Many had retreated entirely. The few that tried to approach closely experienced system failures, sensor overloads, and strange disruptions that left crews terrified. The humans had not fired a single shot. Yet the galaxy had learned a lesson that would not be forgotten. Unbelievable. Saron whispered to himself. One ship. One single human ship has changed everything. Talia Rin, the historian, spoke softly. Admiral, humans have waited long. They have rebuilt in secret for centuries. We cannot imagine the full extent of their power. Saron nodded grimly. And we will not find out unless we are careful. Humanity has returned, and we must treat them as such. Meanwhile, the Valor continued its journey through the Perseus Arm. Captain Laura Bennett walked across the bridge, her eyes calm, her expression steady. Commander Jason Cole followed, watching the stars that stretched endlessly ahead. Do you think they understand now? Jason asked quietly. Laura shook her head. Some do, others do not. But fear is a strong teacher. They will learn in time. Atlas, the ship's AI, spoke calmly. Reports indicate multiple alien species are recalling fleets and issuing orders to halt scans. Probability of accidental engagement minimal. Jason smiled. All from one ship without firing a single shot. Laura's lips curved into a faint smile. They will remember the day they scanned a human battleship, and they will wish they hadn't. The humans had not returned merely to be seen. Across hidden sectors, shipyards had begun to hum with activity. New battleships, cruisers, and carriers were being assembled. Colonies long abandoned in the outer reaches of the galaxy were revived. Humanity had prepared silently for centuries, and now their strength was beginning to emerge. On the Valor, Laura stood before the central display, looking at the fleet reports. Alien forces were retreating, reorganizing, and planning carefully. Even the largest fleets had begun to exercise caution. The galaxy had learned, without battle, the power and intelligence of humanity. Jason spoke again. Do you think they will try diplomacy now? Laura shook her head slowly. Some will. Others may attempt aggression. But humanity will not bow, and humanity will not fail. We have endured extinction, betrayal, and neglect, and we have returned stronger than before. Atlas interrupted with a calm voice. Sensor reports indicate that several distant sectors are now detecting Terran ship construction. Activity is increasing steadily. Probability of first human fleet deployment high. Jason's eyes widened. We are not alone anymore. Humanity is rising, Laura nodded. Yes, and the galaxy will see it soon. But we continue with caution. They must respect us before they fear us fully. Far across the galaxy, in the council chambers of multiple species, leaders debated the situation. Some proposed alliances to face the humans. Others suggested diplomatic missions. But beneath all debates ran the same thought. Humans were not what they had expected. They were not extinct, weak, or harmless. Humanity had survived and adapted. Humanity had prepared. Humanity had power. They are not extinct, one Valari diplomat whispered, and we cannot fight them with what we have now. We were wrong. They are not just a single ship, said an Olarian commander. Reports of shipbuilding, colonies returning, and fleet activity. Humanity has been growing in secret. They survived extinction, another whispered, and now they have returned to remind us that we underestimated them. Back aboard the Valor, Laura and Jason stood quietly. They watched distant alien fleets retreating, reports showing systems recovering and the whispers of fear spreading across the galaxy. Humanity had spoken without firing a single weapon. Humanity had shown its presence and power. Jason looked at Laura. Do you think the galaxy understands now? Laura's eyes were steady. Some do. Others will learn the hard way. But humanity has made its return, and from now on we will not be ignored. We will not be underestimated. We will not bow. Across human colonies, shipyards hummed with activity. New ships larger and stronger than the Valor were being built. Humans who had remained hidden for generations stepped forward into the galaxy. They had grown strong in secret, and now they were emerging. Atlas's voice sounded calmly through the valor. Human presence is expanding. Alien response is cautious. Probability of confrontation, minimal at present. Humanity's reputation is solidifying. Laura nodded. Good, that is what we wanted. The galaxy must respect us. They must know that humans are not weak, not extinct, and not to be underestimated. Jason smiled. It is remarkable. One ship, one message, and the galaxy is already changing. Laura's expression softened slightly, though her eyes remained focused. It is not enough to be known. Humanity must be ready. We have survived countless challenges, and the galaxy must see that we are no longer hiding. We are not prey.
We are not weak.
We are humans, and we endure. In distant fleets, alien officers whispered stories to their crews. Tales of a ship that had disabled entire fleets without firing a single weapon. Tales of a species thought extinct but now alive and powerful. Tales of humans who had rebuilt themselves in secret and emerged stronger than anyone imagined. And everywhere, one lesson became clear. They scanned a human battleship, and instantly wished they hadn't. The Valor continued to glide through space, silent and unstoppable. Captain Bennett looked out at the stars, thinking of the centuries of preparation, the patience and the strength that humanity had built in secret. Humanity had returned not to conquer but to survive, to protect, and to ensure that no one could ever make them bow again. Jason spoke quietly beside her. The galaxy has changed because of us. Laura nodded. Yes, and this is only the beginning. Humanity will be seen, humanity will be respected, and humanity will endure. Across the hidden sectors, fleets of humans prepared for deployment. Ships larger than any alien had seen before were readying for exploration, defense, and demonstration of power. Humanity had returned, and this time no one would forget. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The Valor led the way, a symbol of human ingenuity, endurance, and strength. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity had survived. Humanity had grown, and humanity had returned to claim its place among the stars. And in the silence of the dark void, the whispers continued across alien worlds. Humans are alive. They are stronger than we imagined. And the galaxy will never forget the day we saw them return. Captain Laura Bennett looked ahead, calm and steady, knowing the truth that every human aboard the Valor understood. The galaxy had awakened to humanity's presence. The humans had returned, and no force could ever make them bow again. The humans had spoken. The galaxy had listened, and a new era had begun.